Hey, yeah, let's hit the throttle. Oh my God, yeah, hands going up. Let's hit the dance floor again.
Wild like.
Hello, welcome to The Wild Review. I'm The Wild Reviewer, and today I'm going to review a thing. Welcome back. 4-month break. Wowie. Oh boy. This is going to be an interesting season. So welcome back to The Wild Review. It's been a while since I've done one of these. I decided to take a little break. Why? Because I'm tired. I go through a lot. I've had a lot happen since last time we've seen each other, since we've both seen eye to screen. I went on a little vacation, I graduated high school, I just entered college. I've basically been busy, but I've also been very tired and just felt like I need a break because it does take a lot to make one of these little Wild Review videos. If you're returning to the channel and you see this video in your feed because you're subscribed to me, welcome back. This is going to be an interesting new season, isn't it? We're all in for something now. If you're new, however, to The Wild Review, welcome to The Wild Review. I'm The Wild Reviewer, and today I'm going to review a thing. Oh, that's deja vu. If you're new here, you're probably not going to understand what any of this is, and honestly, I never really made an introduction video to myself. I know most people on YouTube usually have a channel trailer. Well, I don't. The Wild Review is a little show where I review things that catch my interest, and if you go through my feed of videos, you'll notice that I talk about a specific genre of television. Mostly children's television. Yeah, it's all children's television, but this season I do plan on touching upon more adult stuff. Not much more adult stuff, but very little things that you would see as an adult on television. Like, I plan on talking about a lot of the shows on TBS. I've been watching a lot of TBS comedies. Rick and Morty season 3 finally came out this summer, and I gotta talk about that because it was just, it's awesome. I also plan on talking about a certain show that I've been keeping secret for a while. I haven't really had time to talk about it because of the stuff I've wanted to talk about, but it's a really cool show and I've been wanting to talk about for a while, and if you've seen some of my videos, you'll notice I've been wearing certain shirts about this show. I'm not wearing it now, of course, but I'm gonna talk about it at some point this season, I promise. So if you go through my feed of videos, you'll notice that most of the stuff I talk about is children's television, and that's because I love watching kids shows still. We all grew up with children's television. We all grew up with Nickelodeon and Cartoon Network. Those were the shows that formed our childhood, and I don't know what it is about them. They just have a certain charm to them. It's probably because I want to go into children's television when I get older. I actually want to write for children's television. I want to become a writer, but I don't really know how to explain it. It's just stuck with me. It's just something that I guess makes me different from all my friends. And everyone else is doing their own thing, you know, getting jobs and all that stuff, and I'm watching Cartoon Network. No surprise I don't have a girlfriend yet. So yeah, if you go through the video feed, you'll notice I do touch upon a lot of cartoons and stuff you would see on Nickelodeon and Cartoon Network. Though I may sound like I'm contradicting myself because I don't talk about a lot of children's television. I only talk about a few certain platforms, mostly Cartoon Network and Nickelodeon, because those are the ones that attract my interest. There's a certain network you may notice if you go through my video feed that I rarely touch upon. No, not that network. That doesn't exist anymore. I'm talking about the Disney Channel. I'm talking about the Disney Channel! If you've been with me for a while, you may know I've touched upon Gravity Falls, Phineas and Ferb, and Lab Rats multiple times. Though the differences between those shows and the other shows on Disney Channel, those shows are on Disney XD, which is a completely different platform than the Disney Channel. Yeah, it's got the same title, it's owned by Disney. How can it be different if it's owned by Disney? I want you to compare the shows that you see on Disney Channel and the shows on Disney XD. Disney XD has more of action-packed shows. It's got more cartoons than the actual Disney Channel itself. Disney Channel has more of sitcoms and shows that are meant to be a little serious and family shows. They rarely have any more cartoons. In fact, Phineas and Ferb and Gravity Falls both transitioned from Disney Channel and moved to Disney XD. There was no explanation. It just moved. Just move. Plus, the main reason why I don't talk about it much is because nothing really interests me on Disney Channel anymore. The last thing I think I ever watched on the Disney Channel itself was something regarding Wizards of Waverly Place. Maybe the Wizards special, the Alex vs. Alex thing. Anybody remember that? No? The shows weren't interesting, and I don't know, I guess I grew up. And Disney Channel is still kind of like that today. There really isn't anything interesting on this channel anymore that catches my eye. Insert transition to where I talk about That's So Raven and how they have a That's So Raven sequel series now on the Disney Channel, because I'm too lazy to write an actual transition. This is Raven's Home! Yeah, fair warning, if you're new to the channel, you should probably get used to me starting up the video with some stupid monologue, and then I transition into the actual thing I'm reviewing. It's just, I don't know, I think it's interesting. Nobody else does, probably. But yeah, sure, let's just grab something that's in the Disney vault and bring it back and do our own version of Fuller House. I'm not kidding you, that's exactly how this feels. For those who have no idea what I'm talking about, That's So Raven was a show that focused on a girl named Raven, played by Raven-Symoné. She wasn't your ordinary teenage girl, because what made her different from everybody else was that she had psychic powers. She was able to see into the future. Majority of the time, she was able to view something that she would witness in her future that would involve maybe her family member or friends or even herself to have something very terrible happen. The show was pretty successful. It had a good 4th season. It had a crossover with Zack and Cody and Hannah Montana, another thing I've talked about. And it even got a spin-off called Cory in the House, which focused on her brother Cory and her dad moving to Washington, D.C. into the White House because her dad was going to be the chef for the president, and Cory just got to live there. But fast forward to somewhere last year when it was announced that there was going to be a new That's So Raven spin-off. And we were all kind of excited for it, for those who grew up with the show at least. I mean, I thought it'd be interesting. I was wrong. A few months ago, the first episode of the show premiered, and I got to watch it, and oh boy, if I can't say enough that this is like Fuller House, it's just... Like, I literally mean it's like Fuller House. I'd love to stand here for the next couple of minutes and just, like, rant about it and, like, not destroy it, but just rip on it. But I'm not going to, because, first off, it's got pretty good ratings, and people obviously like it, and I don't really, like, want to have those people attack me in any way. But also, it's not the worst thing ever, but it's also not great. It's average. Again, I saw the pilot, and originally this was just going to be a pilot review. I was just going to review how I thought the show would be regarding the pilot. However, more episodes ended up airing after I saw the pilot, and I wasn't going to make this until October, which is today, and I didn't think it'd be fair for me to just judge the show off the pilot if there were more episodes out. So I did watch another episode. I watched episode 3, as a matter of fact, and I thought it would get better, and it's alright. Raven's Home focuses on Raven and Chelsea, who have moved in together. They're both divorced mothers and have kids of their own. Raven still has her psychic powers, and so does her son, who genetically got them from her. Now he has psychic vision as well, and they go on the same adventures that the original cast would sometimes. Yay! It's the same thing, just with children. So again, from what I've seen of the show, I've only seen the pilot, and I saw the 3rd episode that I believe is called Baxter's Get the Boot. I could have that wrong. Usually the pilots show you what you're going to be watching. These are the characters that you're going to be watching throughout the series. This is the story. It's basically a let's get to know the story episode. That's the main point of a pilot. It introduces what you're going to be witnessing, the story they're trying to tell. And most of the time, pilots are also considered to be the first impression of everything about the show. Like, the tone of how the comedy's going to be and, you know, how the characters act. And sure, there will be character development, but it's trying to show you that this is how things are going to be. And the first impression was very bad for me. I did not like the first episode at all. it didn't really feel like a That's So Raven episode, but then again, it really wasn't trying to be a That's So Raven episode, because it's not That's So Raven, it's a new chapter in Raven's life. It's Raven's home. I keep saying that Raven's home is like the Disney version of Fuller House, and that's because it kind of is when you look at it. When you have a show that's returned, and it used to be on in the early 2000s or the 90s, if they bring the show back, they're of course going to introduce new characters, and like what they did with Fuller House, they made Raven and Chelsea have kids, and one of Raven's kids has her psychic vision now, which is the plot of the first episode. It focuses on him discovering he's got psychic vision. Don't know why he's getting it at that age, but I guess there's a time limit for when you can have it. When I was watching the show, I didn't feel like it was about Raven. I felt like it was about her kids, honestly. And Raven was a big part of the show, but I felt that she was more of the subplots. Everything that regarded her and Chelsea, I feel are the subplots of this show now, and the real plots focus on the kids. Because what kids want to watch a children's show that focuses on a mother with children? They want to focus on the kids. They want to relate to the kids' situation. They're not going to relate to anything that the parents go through, and that's why I feel like Raven and Chelsea aren't as much as main characters, but are more of sub-characters. There were 2 points in the pilot that I did find generally funny. There was one part in the beginning where Raven and Chelsea were talking about how, hey, it's pretty good that our husbands left us and we're both divorced now and single parents. And I don't know, the scene just gets really dark because they think over what exactly was said, and like they come to terms that's a little dark, and I don't know, I just started laughing out of nowhere because I just found that very funny. The other thing that was funny was there's a scene where all the kids are together, and something about the character Tess, who I really don't like much, she's one of those characters that is the neighbor kid, and she just is never home. So when Raven's kids are having a conversation, obviously a little argument breaks out between them, and Lev and Tess are just right there. Tess asks a question, I forgot what the question is, but then Lev follows up with the question, how come you're never in your own house? And that honestly made me just tear up, because it is funny. She's portrayed as one of those characters that is never home. She's never at her own house. She's always in somebody else's house. That's a character trait that has been in so many other shows. It's been addressed in iCarly once, but this is the only other time that I've ever seen this be addressed, and I don't know, I just found that very funny. Again, I didn't find it fair that I would just watch the pilot when talking about this show, so I decided to watch the 3rd episode of the show to get a better understanding, maybe maybe if the show did better, maybe if it did worse. The pilot really didn't do anything for me. This episode did very little. So there were a few different story plots going on. The main one was that Chelsea and her son, they're not supposed to be living in Raven's apartment. So Raven's trying to hide the fact that she's got another family living with them, and then there's an issue with the dishwasher, so the kids decide to get the landlord to fix it, and then he discovers Chelsea's living there, and now he's like, you gotta pay me the money or you're getting kicked out. Raven doesn't have any of the money, so now the kids put up a yard sale and sell all their stuff. Meanwhile, there's a little subplot with Lev and Tess as they wander into a room in the apartment that's apparently owned by what they call a witch, because Lev lost his drone. And his drone was, the reason why his drone was lost is because Tess just comes out of nowhere with a bat, hits it. He's like, why did you hit it? She's like, because I got a bat. That's not funny. I like randomness, but that kind of randomness isn't funny. You're being a bully to a child. What else can be said about this episode? Obviously, we know how it's going to end by everybody being able to stay where they are because the landlord ends up... Well, actually, he doesn't make the decision that they could stay. So the witch character, who's an old lady that lives in the apartment building, she apparently owns the building and is the mother for the landlord. And when she finds out about this whole issue, because she's grown a bond with Lev, she allows Chelsea to live with Raven and her kids. And because she only sees one family, she doesn't see 2 different families. So, yeah, that was pretty interesting. I didn't see that coming. Something else that kind of surprised me about the episode is they probably mentioned it in the pilot and I just wasn't paying attention, or maybe even in the second episode that I've yet to see. But apparently Chelsea's husband is in jail, which that's pretty dark. She wasn't even the one that said it. She's just been saying that he's divorced. It was actually Lev who said that, his dad's in jail. That's the whole reason why the drone is so important to him. Chelsea's husband is in jail because of tax fraud. Really surprising that the Disney Channel allowed that. I'm generally surprised that Disney Channel allowed for one of their shows for children to involve a character that we probably will not see unless they do a little special episode that revolves around this issue to be put in jail. This is coming from the same network that wouldn't allow Alex Hirsch to put a Spin the Bottle reference in his Gravity Falls episode about Halloween.
It said on it, like, Halloween party, bottles will be spun, no photos better wind up online, and they're like, bottles will be spun, spin the bottle reference. Impossible, never on the Disney Channel. I was like...
Overall thoughts, because I want to end this. What exactly, how's the end result for this? How do I feel about this show? Well, I can tell you this much. If you're somebody that really didn't know about this show, loved That's So Raven, and want to watch it, I would highly suggest you give it a shot. Just give it a shot. I mean, I'm not going to say don't watch it because it's nothing like you would expect, because everything is still there. She still has her psychic powers. That obviously hasn't changed. There are just new people in it. Honestly, I would just give it a try if you're a fan of the show, because it's kind of the same, it's kind of not. Again, it's like Fuller House. That's the kind of vibe I'm getting from the show, that it's basically just a show that now focuses on the kids. That's the whole thing with it. So, that's my overall thought on Raven's Home. Would I ever watch it again? Probably not. I mean, there's probably some better things on. I don't really see it lasting very long, honestly. Wow, this is awkward. It's not that bad, but it's also not that great. I feel that maybe if it just was never a thing, it probably wouldn't matter. Yeah. Put Corey in an episode and then we'll start talking. But that's what I think about Raven's Home. My very confusing result is It's okay. There we go. If this was your first Wild review, I hope you get a sense of what's going to be happening. That's what I think of Raven's Home, but now I want to hear what you people think. Do you still watch Disney Channel? Did you watch That's So Raven? Have you seen the new That's So Raven show? What do you think about it? What do you think of the old show? And which one's better? Those are a lot of questions. Do you agree or disagree with anything that I said in this video? Tell me in the comments, and also leave me your suggestions for whatever movie, TV show, or random thing you want me to talk about next. Thanks for watching The Wild Review. I'm The Wild Reviewer, and you just saw me review a thing. Wowee, the new season premiere wasn't all that great. It's alright, it's rough. But that's okay, because next Tuesday is gonna be especially good, hopefully. I'm making a list of my favorite Lab Rats episodes, so you might want to tune in next Tuesday on The Wild Review. I'll see you then! Oh, God, I want to do that.
Wild like wildlife.